Got a question kind of on this topic.
Yeah. All right. So the question here for our podcast listeners later on, do you put a separate story for doing the tech analysis work? Ooh, this is where Jenny and I might have some heat.
I'll go take a walk for a while. I'll come back.
I don't think we're a little different. I don't think we're like, East versus West kind of differences here. Whether or not you need kind of a product backlog item for the technical analysis work, to me, comes down to how big is that technical analysis, right? If we have a very small, I think about this as small design versus big design, right? If I have a very small design question and we're really comfortable as a team that we can answer it inside of the sprint, you can bring it into the sprint and just maybe you have a small design discussion with a whiteboard inside of the sprint. I'm not going to worry about having a spike before that. You have a big design question, right? A big-ish design question, a high uncertainty question, something you need to research or investigate or do a quick prototype, then a spike is going to be a good idea. And then sometimes a group I worked with once a long time ago had a big design question. They actually had we are doing an API. This is the first run of the APIs. We're not entirely sure about the design paradigms and design patterns we're going to use. That wasn't even a spike. We ended up, after talking with them, finding out they needed about a half a sprint's worth of deep design conversations and documentation so that they had a pattern they'd reuse forever. And so we just did a sprint allocation. The next sprint, we cut the velocity in half, gave them half of the time to do the design work because it was just so big. It seemed kind of silly to even put stories in the backlog for that. So it depends. And I'd say use common sense and good judgment. Right. How about you, Earl?
Yeah, so here's where I'll tell her she's wrong. Yeah. No.
I'm not wrong. I'm just different.
Yeah, she's just different. She's fine. So the simple answer is I typically will not write a story for tech analysis work because 1, I do not want to try to size it in points. And 2, I don't want to put points on it at all. I don't want this to count to my velocity. My velocity is completing value stories for the product owner, not doing technical analysis work, though that's important work that needs to get done. I do want the product owner to control how much is invested in this technical analysis work. I don't want someone doing $3,000 worth of tech analysis work that's only going to generate $1,000 worth of revenue, right? That's just not a good trade-off. And so I want this controlled. So what I tend to say is that the technical analysis work goes into a bucket of work that's in every sprint. That's my backlog refinement work. And we time box it. We say we don't spend more than X amount of our capacity doing technical analysis work. That's just part of what we do. And when that time is used up, then we can go back to the PO and say, do you want to sacrifice some of your value stories for us to do more technical analysis, or do you want to delay this and roll it over to the next sprint and do more technical analysis? I.e. that we're going to just keep using our bucket of time if this is important enough to you. So that choice can constantly be made. So that's how I spin it. But I actually
don't think we're that far apart, Earl.
Yeah, I don't think we're that far apart.
Yeah, I put them in spikes. I don't point them. I don't think you should point spikes. I think spikes should be time boxed. I think the only difference is I'm looking at putting that in the next sprint. You have the team have a bucket inside the current sprint, and they can just
already have a place where they can start it right then if they wanted to.
Yeah. Wouldn't give me heartburn if a team did that.
So the answer to the question is no, we're not writing stories. Either of us are writing stories necessarily for it. For Jenny's big problem, that was, I think, a fluke because they really should have started this design problem much earlier. They discovered halfway through, it's like, holy moly, we haven't done our homework yet. Okay, stop, reboot, do the homework. Yeah. Life happens, we'll adjust.
Neither Earl or I would do a story. We would do something that was a product backlog item, but not a story.
So the undercurrent in all of this, I think, is you don't want to have to